Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. So excited. So the question of the day, are you ready for a booking agent? We have a really great panel. My name is Grossman. I'll be moderating. I'm from Black Oak Artists. I had about 17 years in education. I'm out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I worked at a school there called the Institute of Production and Recording, and I taught business classes adjunct for several years, and had my own agency called Green Room Music Source for about a dozen years. And then when pandemic hit, I merged that with Fleming Artists. Got a couple years in with them, and then went over to Dennis Grable and the team at Black Oak Artists. And we have a party tomorrow, by the way. I don't want to forget. You see those flyers on your seats. All day at Dee's, the backyard, 12 to 8. A lot of shameless promotion today. That's what we're all about, right? So I am excited to have my panel introduce themselves here. We've got a lot of great people on this. We have one artist, a manager, and another fellow agent right here. So I'm going to start over. Brian, have you do a quick introduction of yourself before we get going?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for everybody for coming. We're really glad to be here on this subject. My name is Brian Swenk. I run Rockwood Booking out of North Carolina. We're an independent booking agency. We've been growing a lot in the last couple years. We're up to 7 agents and 45 bands now, so the growth of that has been quite fun. I'm a performer, a lifelong performer. We try to run the company from a performance basis. Most of my agents have been touring performers, so we do have that experience, and that's kind of what we try to bring to the company. And then one thing I do want to mention, shameless promotion, we've developed a music business coaching program at Rockwood for independent musicians. And the goal is to, wherever you're at, whether you're just starting out or you've done it for decades and you just want to get to the next level, we've tried to develop a program to give you some basic business fundamentals to help move yourself 1, 2, 3 steps ahead. If anybody wants to talk to me about that, please come up after this panel. I've got some information on that. But yeah, it's good to be here. And I look forward to talking to some of y'all.
Hi, my name is Cindy Silva. I'm an artist manager. I manage the Zombies. And I manage Bruce Sedano, who couldn't be here this weekend, unfortunately. And I run an international program for an internship program that we've always had but sort of expanded on during the pandemic. So we've had 48 women come through our doors since the beginning of the pandemic, and we've had 4 guys. So that's not, well, guys, brush up on your interview skills, please. But other than that, we are a safe place. We teach a lot. Our internships are intense, but you walk out with a network and you walk out with a lot of knowledge and experience that you can put into your career. So that's what I do.
Hello there. I'm Kim Richey, and I'm the only not agent on the panel. Anyway, I think it's a good decision y'all made to be here today, because we've had a few meetings and I've learned a lot already from these guys. They're saying, well, you should make sure and do that, and I'll be going, what? so it's going to be a good panel. So thanks for coming, you guys.
I'm Evangeline Elston, and I'm an agent at Black Oak Artists now. I was for years an independent booking agent, and I've also done a ton of promotion. I do live concert production and promotion as well. And I've been a talent buyer in many sort of capacities, from nonprofit to clubs. And I started off my career in the music business as a radio DJ at KVMR FM in Nevada City, California. And we also are entertaining the idea of internships at Black Oak Artists for qualified people who are ambitious.
I love it. Thank you all. It's really, really cool. I'm so happy to have you all here. So as you can see, we have an outline. Actually, Evangeline was kind enough to come up with this list, and then we all sort of got together to kind of collaborate on it, make sure we had everything. You see the first one, talent, is already checked. you guys all have that. Everybody knows that that's not necessarily enough. You have to figure out, what are the steps you need to take to attract an agent, to attract the right agent, the correct agent. Sometimes you grow together with a manager or an agent. And I just wanted to first start by just quickly saying, I boil down the definition of an agent as someone who is, it's kind of obvious, but strictly gets you employment. A lot of people think agents do a lot of other different things. They can sometimes, but really it's just about us trying to get you employment. And that can mean anything. That of course can mean anything from $0 to whatever ever amount of money, depending on where you're at in your career. So I'm going to start out here. We're going to talk about music distribution for a second. I want to ask Cindy, we now, of course, know how important it is to have proper distribution in place for your music. It looks a lot different than it used to. And how important is it these days to diversify your platforms for distribution?
Wow. Hello. Not expecting that question. I mean,
I gave you the question. Oh.
Did you give me the question? Oh, God, that makes it even worse, doesn't it? Look, I feel like there's no cookie cutter way to do anything these days, right? So every project we look at is different. Every artist is different. We have a different partner for each artist. Sometimes in the case of the Zombies, it's all about to change. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through that here, even though I shouldn't, probably, but I'm going to. So for example, they were with AWOL forever, but it was a very antiquated system, and they weren't doing anything extra for us. We were just putting our songs through the service and, collecting what we collect, and no pushing, no playlisting, no nothing. The Zombies. Can't believe it, right? Well, that's all about to change, and maybe pay attention to what's happening with them now. We have partnered up with Q Prime and Metallica, and because they are the most fierce independents out there, and the Zombies are very independent as well. And so we are going to be doing a lot of direct deliveries to certain services thanks to Q Prime's relationship and Metallica's relationships. So we will be doing things like YouTube Direct, Spotify Direct, Apple Music Direct. I'm really excited. If you talked to me a month ago, I was very frightened, but I'm very excited now. But obviously you can't do that with every artist. So every time I have to go, okay, what is right for this artist? Is it a symphonic? Are they going to be my best route? Is it going to be, it's a younger artist. Do I maybe put them through DistroKid? It's where you have your relationships and where you can do the most for each artist. Was that the answer you were hoping for?
That was the exact answer I was looking for.
Thank you.
It was like, it's all right here, word for word.
Lucky, fooled them again.
Yeah. All this kind of builds up. These are all important elements. We're trying to basically guide you along the lines of you're probably thinking of all of these things as on your own checklist, but why they're important when you're approaching an agent or an agency, and in a way just kind of having all of that stuff organized. So you'll probably hear us talk a lot about organization through the day. Kim, of course it's important to have a fan base. You've spent many years developing one. What is the significance of staying connected, or how do you stay connected with your artists?
Fans.
Sorry, with your fans. What did I, yeah. Or your artists.
Yeah, let's see. I try and do a newsletter. It's monthly-ish. And that's a good, and I'm on social media, but I might talk a little bit more about that later, but it's good to know who your fans are, and like, I know I was sent to play someplace one time, and it was a rock club, and there's no chairs, and I was like, my people do not want to stand up, I'm telling you right now. There's gonna need to be chairs, just stuff like that, knowing where you're gonna find your fans. Like, people that come to my show for the most part are older, so I'm not that worried about TikTok. So, you know, stuff like that. So, and just keeping in touch with the newsletter, I think, and then I'll talk a little bit more about, you know, ways to keep in touch and stuff.
That's great.
The social media part.
Thank you, Kim. I love that. Brian, I'm going to throw this one out to you because as an agent, of course, you have to send pitches out. If you could tell us what role proper updated promotional materials play when it comes to that, how important that is and how you utilize that.
Yeah, it's so incredibly important to have updated assets. So I talk about this a lot to younger artists. You know, you want to craft an email pitch with these assets. And the example that I use is Levitt Amphitheater in Harrisonburg. We know the guy, you know, he was telling me they had 250 solid submissions for 10 slots. So how do you, set yourself apart? You know, I mean, these buyers are getting hundreds of emails a day with good bands, you know, so how do you set yourself apart? Having a really good band photo, I mean, professional, it's got vibe, it's got style. When the buyers open up this email, that's one of the first things they're gonna see. And back when I was with Midwood Entertainment with Micah Davidson, we always said that photo might be 70% of that pitch because these buyers see so many pitches that they can kind of tell a lot just by the photo. Are you professional? Do you have vibe? Do you have style? Are you willing to do what it takes to get these assets and photos? So they're going to see that photo first. You really want that to stand out. And if the photo stands out, they might have a good chance of clicking on the live video. So we'll add live videos to that as well. You know, the live video doesn't have to be super professional, but that's all you got to show, to show your band off. And, you want that you want to be high energy. You want it to start right away in the music, sound decent, look decent, good bio. I mean, it's just all the assets. And the reason that you want these to look as good as possible, you're just wanting to show professionalism. These buyers are looking for professionalism, and you don't have to be a very high up band. I mean, you can still be a young band and show professionalism. But what the buyer wants to see, yes, they can trust you to show up on time, do the sound check, play the show on time, promote it, fully promote it, do all the things that we have to do for the show. And that's what you're wanting to show the buyers, that you will do all this professionally and on time. So yeah, having all those updated assets, like people ask me, do I need a website these days? And like, yeah, you do. I mean, again, you are just showing professionalism to the buyers, and little things like that, they all add up, and then hopefully you get one of those 10 slots out of the 250.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Let's move on a little bit to the fan email list. We talked a lot about in preparation for this the importance of, again, it's kind of a question of connecting, or how do you stay connected to your existing audience, whether you have 2 people that love your music or 2 million people that love your music. You have to figure out a way, or your team has to figure out a way, I should talk into the mic, to connect with them. Evangeline, do you find email lists to be effective for your artists? And do you use those email lists yourself in your role as an agent or manager?
Yeah, so first of all, I'll say that kind of the email list has sort of come back around because and I'll go back to this a little bit, but I have some artists that I've been working with for many, many years who I was working with before the social media thing happened, and they were all about keeping their email list up to date. And then social media happened, and literally people said, I don't have to do that anymore. That's not important. And I would argue that that is not the case now, because there's so much noise on social media, and what an email list is a direct to your fans. It's a direct way of communicating, and the way it's most effective is if you can make it authentic and speak to your audience in your own voice and offer things that are cool and different from other things that they get. So I would argue that an email list is super, super important, and it's a total pain in the butt to keep, but you can streamline that in some ways by, doing QR codes to sign up or whatever if you don't want to do the email list on the table at your shows, although I think there should always be one there. And it should, when you get home to the hotel, it should always be entered, or if you have somebody on your team or a friend who's willing to collect that information for you, to do that. So that's just like, do that. And then you can go much deeper into it by, segmenting it, making sure you know where you got the emails. So even if people don't tell you what city they were in, have one sheet per city or whatever, and segment that list so that then when you're coming back someplace, you can talk directly to those people who were at your last show. And people think that email lists, one of the ways that I love to keep in touch with artists is through their emails and read about what's new. And it's also a way that you can offer people, and you probably know this, exclusive things that no one else gets, or pre-sales, or all the different things. My record's coming out, and you can even talk to them about joining your Patreon or all those things. So I would say it's very, very important. And I do interact with email lists. I have a couple artists that I help with because they're technologically challenged and always have been and never will ever be anything else, even though I tried so hard. But they send me their screenshot or a picture of the list from their show, and I enter it for them. And that we have a segmenting, a way of segmenting it in the software. So
That's going above and beyond. That's great.
yeah, well, you know who it is.
One lucky person. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So email lists are really important.
You can kind of see the theme, hopefully, of where we're going here about, when you're approaching an agent, just kind of a reminder of what we're doing here on track is how important it is to be able to express, again, organized, in some kind of an organized fashion to the agent or agency about where you're coming from with your existing audience. One of the first things I'm going to ask as an agent to a prospective or some client that I'm interviewing, for lack of better terms, is, how are you connecting to your fans? It's not even all, sure, I want to know how many fans you have. You're not going to know exactly, but what cities are you, I say, popping in? What cities are you doing well in? What markets? But how are you staying connected? Because it isn't just, of course, about finding those fans, but keeping those fans. Mm-hmm. And that, of course, is fan engagement. You've all been there. That's what social media is all about. Kim, you said you were going to say a little bit more, and I did have this question more on social media for our next category, robust social media.
All righty. Well, I just want to say that's a great point about the newsletter, because, and I kind of stopped doing it too, so I'm going to start doing it again. But I was told, there's so much on social media, like you were saying, but newsletters right to that person. Like I just sold some things that I had. They were it's like a box set that we made for Record Store Day that somehow got lost on a boat. So I have all these things. Yeah, and I put, I can put it up on social media, and then, maybe a couple people get in touch, and I put it up in a newsletter, and now, now I've got like 20 people instantly, like, oh, I'll take one of those, I'll take one of those. So that's a way to relate directly to your fans. But, like social media, I think it's important to like be authentic, like, on social media, and not always be asking stuff from people like, come and see me, come and buy this, come and, engage in some other, I do some stuff, like I like cooking, so if I make something that I think's kind of cool, I go, oh, here's, I just made this, and I swear to God, food posts get the most action of anything. Like, maybe put a post of the cookies you made on there, and then in the comments, like, hey, and by the way, while you're looking at my cookies, you could maybe come and buy a ticket to come and see me, someplace else. But just to engage with the people and kind of give back. Because it seems like on social media, I feel like sometimes I'm always asking for stuff like, to play a little free, surprise song, something like that for people without a little button where here you can give me money for playing this song, So that's a couple things. I think that's about all for, okay, and these are friends of mine, and they're with this agency, so that's full disclosure. But if you, I think the Accidentals do an incredible job with their social media. Like, they do stuff like they have.
Anyone know that band, the Accidentals?
Yeah, they have a book club. they listen to classic records with their, that's know your fans. A lot of their fans would be, classic record, rock kind of people. So those kind of things where you engage, and they make stuff, and bring to shows and everything. So, I mean, maybe, look at their stuff and see some of the things they're doing. That might be, an inspiration for you, for your fans.
Can I add on that?
Sure.
I'm sorry,
No,
just
no,
because
you're good.
we do a lot more than we're supposed to do at the Rocks management. We leave no stone unturned when it comes to promoting a show or even just fan engagement. Utilize bands in town. You have free reach there. You don't always have to just promote a show. You can also message your fans on bands in town and say, hey, what do you want to see us do next? What do you, just engage for real and leave no stone unturned. Whether you're putting, and I will even say this, TikTok is for old people too. The Zombies have a great TikTok channel. And we do things that we normally wouldn't, but it's fun, and be open. Because really, what I think social media, how it's best used, is when you can feel the band's personality, or you can feel that artist, you can really sort of connect with who they really are as people, not just the music, you know what I mean? Because that's really how you create a community. We have a fan club. It is a lot of work. I was told I was opening Pandora's box when I opened it. They were right. It's a lot of work to stay connected with every super fan, but we do it, and it works. And in the end of the day, we put things out, and people respond. So I think, find your voice. Find a way to get through the uncomfortableness of it, and find your voice and find your people who want to respond to that voice. Try to end things with a question. Try to, offer something that requires engagement back. If you can think about social media in those terms, it's not such a bear.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That's nice. I like that. Evangeline, you?
Yeah, I just wanted to say social media it's such a huge thing, and yet it cannot be overstated how important it is. But it's really important to know to do a little bit of research, and a lot of the young people already know these things, but what platforms work best for what kind of engagement that you really want. I mean, TikTok might be skewed to a younger audience, but it is great for discovery. So for people who have never heard of you before. And then within Instagram and Facebook, it's the same way. Stories go different, hit people differently than your feed does. And feed is more of Facebook is more of a long form thing. Whereas stories go by quicker, and they are good for announcing shows, and same with Instagram. So the main thing is to understand, just have a very basic understanding of those things so that you know where to put stuff, and and you don't feel like your feed is just full of you all the time, right? Because that isn't going to be effective, but put it in different places. And the authenticity piece, just knowing who you are, and you're not like everybody else, maybe it's not you on a short video maybe it's you're filming your dog while you're talking about your show, or whatever it is. It's going to be you. But consistency, I would say, is the most important thing on social media. So whether you're doing 1 post a week or you're doing 6 posts a week, you've got to keep that because it's all based on these data points that are out there for you. So you've got to find a place that's comfortable, where you're not like, I can't do this, it's too much. So whether it's 1 post or it's 6 or 10, consistently doing that. And don't say, I'm going to take the next 6 months off social media. Not if you're an artist.
Oh, God, no.
You can't do that.
No.
So it's just really important, but find something that works for you and be consistent.
Thank you. That was great. Do you anybody remember radio? The thing radio used to be the thing. I think it's still around a little bit. I listen to it. You know, what does that say about my age? But I've always said, or recently, not always, that radio, or playlists rather, are sort of the new radio. And Cindy, I wanted to ask you how involved you get with your artists in getting both radio and playlists, and also maybe a distinction between those two things, if there is any.
Again, I think what we do best is thinking outside of the box, not being cookie cutter, because honestly, I don't have any major label artists. I have a limited amount of success at radio. Even with the Zombies, it doesn't seem to be, but you can't ignore radio. So we do a certain amount of radio. We definitely try to find our champions and nurture the relationships with the PDs and the MDs and whatnot, and that's very helpful. But I also go very outside the box. Like I'll suddenly do a radio campaign to college radio. I'll take Odyssey and Oracle, which is like a 50-something-year-old record, and send it to college radio, and they eat it up, you know, because it's another way. For discovery, you just have to do it in a way that's manageable and not too expensive, right? So we do that. And then playlisting is really important. Bruce Sedano has been creating, he's one of our artists as well. He's been creating, I've been doing with him sort of like this, who is Bruce Sedano? Because there's many people that just don't know him. So I took, instead of the playlisting aspect, although we're gonna take this to title next, but what I did was like a YouTube series with him where it was sort of like, now we'll explain his story through YouTube, through videos of him talking about every album that he's ever worked on since his Alive and Kickin' days, when he was singing songs like Tighter and Tighter, through his Donna Summer days, through, you know, all that, and where he is now. And so it seems like some of the DSPs are starting to see the value in that kind of thing, and now we're gonna do a similar playlist sort of journey on Tidal next, where you can hear him talk about where he was in his career, and then you can listen to a song immediately after and go, oh yeah, okay, I get this, and you move on, you know, to the next part of his career. It's just kind of racking your brain going, what's working for other people, but also, what haven't people thought about yet, you know? And when you do a playlist, when you create an artist playlist, don't be sloppy about it. Don't be casual about it. Make it something you'd actually want to listen, you know? You can tell, like, if you play something, if you put together a playlist and test it out at home, live with it, because this is what you're putting out to the world. This is like your DJ moment, right? Where you can say, yeah, it's kind of like as important, if not more important than putting your set together for a show. What you're doing there is showing that you know music, right? like you can actually, you know what an audience wants to hear, even if it's a single person listening on Spotify or wherever else. So I would say take time and also really know where your music fits in with other music. Don't put yourself next to all these massive artists that maybe you aspire to sit with that music, but you really are not there yet. You know what I mean? And also think about it as a way of...
Someone's agent is calling.
Think about it as a way of maybe, you know, you're bringing in some of your other friends into that playlist too, and maybe they'll share it too, and maybe that's how it grows. So just think about these things before, you know, don't just put it out there. Put it out there with intention. Anything you do, put it out with intention and thought, because you can tell when people are being sloppy and nobody's going to follow it. So,
I want to just add one thing about playlists.
Please.
On Spotify, and I'm sure they have this on Apple Music too, you can, pay a percentage of the plays for this service where they introduce your music to people who don't know it, and they take 30% of whatever 1/1,000,000th of 1 penny that you get from those. But I'm working with an artist right now who we've been using this, and it's a monthly thing. You put the songs, you plug in the songs that you want to use for the promotion for that month, and then they start feeding that out. And their listenership monthly goes up by like 5,000 people. I'm not even kidding. And it's like, you don't even know that the 1/1,000,000th of 1 penny is gone. I would use that, and if you hate Spotify, you hate Spotify. But, a lot of promoters and buyers, they look at those numbers, and so monthly listeners and subscribers are a thing. And so people are always trying to get the ear of an actual playlist person who has influence, but there's some great tools now that you can use and pay these people to put your music out, to people who haven't heard it before. And that's a really great way to get your numbers up.
That's cool. I didn't know about it. What was that?
I think $90 above a certain monthly distance.
Oh, really?
I believe so, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for that.
I don't know the answer to that. Thank you for that.
Let's go
Worth
on.
looking into.
Yeah, let's go on to the next one of our topic on our checklist here. I've been talking a lot about, I throw out that frightening word for artists, and myself, I'm also an artist sometimes, organization, record keeping. I want to throw this out to everyone, the notion of keeping records of all the things we've been talking about so far, and certainly we haven't talked about this yet, but your show financials, not just your what you're making at the door, what you're taking home for your pay based on ticket sales. Of course, sometimes you're doing the soft ticket shows where you're getting a flat guarantee. I will ask newer artists, actually every artist now, even though I'm not a manager and I don't collect off of merch sales, I want to know what the merch sales are. How many t-shirts did you sell? How many CDs? How many albums? Vinyl? Whatever it is. Because if it's a newer artist and I have them opening for a larger artist, that gives me an indication of market response. I know that if they've sold even $50, $100 at a show, that means something is, again, I'll use that word, popping. Something is happening there, and I will mark that down as an agent to see that market is being responsive, and we'll make it a priority to get back there. Not that we don't want to get the artist back there again, but this can help us target dates for tours, etc. I hope that makes sense. I have not had much sleep. But I want to throw this out to everyone of the importance, and Brian, we'll kind of combine this with the next one, financials.
Yeah.
Why is that important? How do you utilize it as an agent? And of course, Evangeline, well, anybody can answer this, but how do you utilize that?
Yeah.
I guess I'm not throwing it out to everyone.
I'm sure a lot of you have reached out to agencies before, sent your pitch looking for an agent. What's the very first question they ask you? Will you send over your tour history? The financials are really, really important. At the end of the day, these agents, they got to pay their mortgages, they got bills, they have to make a living doing it. So having your financials in a good place is so incredibly important. I get submissions every single day. A lot of these submissions are from people that have probably never even sold a hard ticket, but they're so ready to be in the life and have a booking agent, and they just don't understand how important the financials are. So I've got a little spiel that I'll typically tell them. If you want to get yourself to where you are ready for an agent, or an agent is willing to give you a lot of their time throughout the day, concentrate on your calendar. If you can get yourself to about $75,000 to $100,000 a year in gross touring revenue, that's when a lot of agents really will kind of pick up and know that something's happening. It helps them, it helps them make money where they can pay their bills, and they can dedicate their time to your calendar. But it also just shows that you're willing to do it. It's showing that you're willing to do the work to get yourself there. When you build a team, you still have a lot of work to do. Are you willing to do all the work, all the things to get yourself and move ahead? And a lot of agents and managers, that's what we want to see. We want to see people that can do the work. Some younger musicians will kind of hear that, $75,000, $100,000 a year touring revenue. And the first thing they'll say is, well, how do I get there if I don't have an agent? It's like cart before the horse thing. And what I'll tell them is, every one of your favorite bands has done it. It can be done. It takes a lot of work. You're going to work harder now than you might ever do, but every one of your favorite bands has done it. It can be done, and you're just showing that you can build up momentum, you can develop your fan base, you can play good shows, your music is quality, and that gives the agents leverage. We can leverage that to new markets, to new crowds. One of my best bands right now set up a meeting with me 2 years ago, and I kind of knew him a little bit, but I wasn't really keeping up with him, and the bass player came and talked to me, and he said, so we just sold 800 tickets 2 weeks ago at Hall River Ballroom in North Carolina, and he's got like, is that good? I'm like, yeah, that's really good. That is really, really good. I was immediately attracted to this. They did it all on their own. They'd never had a booking agent before, and I was like, not only do I want to work with you, I will wake up every single morning and concentrate on your calendar. You guys have built up momentum, you're doing everything right, you've proved it. I'm really excited about getting to work on your calendar, and they're one of my favorite bands that I work with. If you can get yourself up to that, you'll just get better. You can develop a better team. Do as much as you can for yourself, then good agents will be attracted to you and want to work with you.
That's great. I don't know if anyone else wants to add to that. Talking about the next line item, investment, I'm going to ask Evangeline the importance of, or how do you invest, or how do you recommend people invest to get ready for a tour? What are some of the things? We talked about some of them already, but.
Right. So first of all, I just wanted to say, even if you're not in a place where you're doing hard ticket numbers, to estimate the number of people in the room when you're playing, have somebody do it for you, that's a great record too. Because if you can talk about, if you're approaching a booking agent or a manager, if you can talk about, I'm not getting paid to work, but a ton of people are coming to my shows, and I filled this room in this place and all that. So that keeping those records is just, again, a pain in the butt, but super important. The investment piece for me is I spent a lot of my time working with developing artists in the last 24, 25 years. I have a real strong draw to people who are developing their art, and I love songwriters, and so I'm kind of a pushover, and but it's allowed me and the artists that I work with to learn a lot about how to do it, because I didn't go get trained to do this work. So it was basically by being a music fan and just being drawn to these people that it happened. And so the investment piece is really important, and a lot of people think that if they get an agent, the agent can pick up the phone and make the show happen. And it's not true. There may have been a time way before I was born that was true, but it's just really not true. There's a few agents in this world who could do that, I'm sure, but they're not us. And we're the ones that are kind of working this level of the market, from developing all the way up to, pretty successful, but not superstars, right? So one thing that I would say in this development phase, when what you really want is an agent, think about putting 15% of every dime you make in investing it into promotion for yourself. Because that's what you're going to pay me, 15%, when you think that I'm going to pick up the phone and get you the show that pays a lot of money. If you invest that, so $15 for every $100 you make or whatever, into these kind of things we've been talking about, into social media, even advertising, hiring somebody to help you manage some of this business stuff, because it's really managing a small business is what you're doing, and you have to get your head around that, right? But if you invest that 15% into some tools that can help you elevate yourself until you get qualified to have a booking agent, not only is it great for you because you're going to have a lot more fans, you're going to be way further ahead, but it's also going to show an agent or a manager or whoever it is in the industry that you're taking this shit seriously. And if you think about it, 15%, it's not that much, and it's worth it, because if you do nothing, then you'll do nothing in the business. So think about that. So investing, there's that. So the kinds of investment I'm talking about that might be helpful are in platforms that help you communicate with people, in advertising for your shows, in contracting with people who can help you promote your music, good radio people, the playlist thing, you know, all those things. So investment and the willingness to put money into your own career, it's absolutely necessary these days, unless you have a benefactor, and there are a few people who do, but by far, everybody is just bootstrapping it. But, you know, it's like a savings account. Put the 15% aside, and then until you feel like you're ready and can go to a booking agent or manager and whatever, and kind of lay out where you are with this. It doesn't mean you have to have every one of these things checked off perfectly and have 1 million fans. But if you can have, you fit somewhere in this constellation, you have stuff to talk about with a booking agent. And they can see that you're serious about it.
Love it.
Right?
Wow. Thank you for that, Evangeline. Cindy, as a manager, your job is to place, or is to gather the team.
Yes.
What are the members you like to see in the team before you even ask an agent to get involved?
Well, I mean, you need publicity, but you need a good publicist. Not just anybody. And I think that publicists vary. You know, they're like everything else. You can find your $4,000 a month person, and you're not ready for them. So don't spend the money there. Not yet. You know what I mean? Think of everything that you do. You want to add good people, but you want to incrementally spend. So you don't want to like lay out everything, put all your money behind anything, because it's not going to work that way. Diversify a little bit. Other team members, you need to make sure your touring band or whatever it is, however your unit is well put together. It depends on the act. Sometimes they need a sound man before they need a booking agent. You know what I mean? Like you can't put a 15-piece band on a stage unprepared. You just can't do that. So, or if you're going really super small, make sure that you have someone help, or if you can't do, whatever you can't do yourself, or you're not willing to do, you're gonna have to pay somebody else to do it for you. So whether that be a social media company, or a PR person, or somebody that's going to shout through the rooftops for you, or alongside you, or amplify your voice.
Love it.
And then, hopefully, if you're making friends with buyers and venues, and because I do believe that you need to have enough moxie to create your own relationships until you can sort of afford a relationship. Everybody wants a manager, everybody wants an agent, but those things don't come without a cost. We can't afford to live or do anything if we're working on commission and you're making zero, right? So that just doesn't work. So if we can just, it doesn't have to be a big team, there just has to be one, hopefully more than just us.
Yeah.
Do that.
Very cool. No, that's great.
Thank you, sorry.
Kim, oh yeah, go ahead.
I've got something on that. I heard something, it was a while back, but it really stuck with me. When you're building your team, how do you know when you're ready to add a team member up, say like social media manager or something like that? Mm-hmm. Keep a list of everything that you're doing, because at first you're doing everything. You're an independent artist, you're a small business, that's a good way to look at it. But as long as the finances are there and you can pay to, you can hire team members, but on the list of things that you do when you absolutely hate doing something, when you get to the point where you absolutely hate it and you don't want to do it, social media is a really good example. That's a good time to really think about bringing a team member on. So that's a good way to think of it. You know, it's like, if I start building a team, what do I absolutely hate doing that's so important? You know, booking, tour management, social media, something like that. So that just kind of stuck with me.
Yeah. Sometimes a really good fan can help you do things too. Don't discount that, you know. Think of your super fans as like an intern sometimes.
Or a family member.
They want a little piece of that. Just make sure it's somebody you trust and it's not going to make you look bad. You know, that kind of thing. So, sorry.
Very cool. For the last point here, reliable transportation, it's kind of obvious that you need it, but I'm always surprised at how many artists don't seem to have a plan in place. I'll ask them, you know, okay, you want to do all these dates, we can start to plan that, maybe we're ready with everything else, but when it comes time to, you know, what are you going to drive, what are you going to get there? And Kim, being the artist, you tour a lot, you go out for runs of shows, how do you plan for that yourself, for reliable transportation?
Well, I mostly rent a car. Just as a tip, I don't know if you guys know this, Don Henry told me this, but if you're a member of Costco, it's cheaper to rent a car and you get a free extra driver.
Ooh, nice.
So,
I had no through Costco?
Yeah,
Wow.
through Costco. So that's
Who knew?
it's always cheaper because I always kind of check, you know, after to rent something. Oh my gosh, I threw myself off. I was going to say something.
You could even get a 15-passenger van through Costco.
Yeah,
Really?
you can get vans and
Yeah.
everything.
Nice. Sometimes it's pretty rare. I've seen it. I live in Minneapolis, Twin Cities, a big music town. Maybe you know that. And there were companies that would sometimes rent out vans. I can't imagine what the liability insurance is for those companies, but I don't see it as much now. But, you know, I used to work more in the indie alternative rock world, and that's what people would rely on because they didn't have their own vehicle or it was too expensive. You got to weigh the cost, of course, with everything in the long term, but just having that plan in place is obviously important.
I
go ahead,
kind
Kim.
of remember but it's if you're touring all the time, this is how I'm looking at it these days. Is I tour all the time, so that's kind of my life. So I want to be comfortable, and I want to have a car that works. It doesn't have to be a big giant car, but I'm not willing to squish 12 of us in a car. But so. I don't know. I think we have to make sure and take care of ourselves while we're out there because touring's, it's pretty physical and it's pretty hard. And so I would, don't try, if you can, not skimp on that and don't go out in something that you're afraid to drive out of state, and expect other people to come along for the ride. So
I've had bands have wheels fall off their vehicle while driving 75 miles an hour on the highway. Get reliable transportation.
This is, obviously we could talk all day on these points and others, but we do have at least, 15 minutes left maybe, something like that? 10 So I wanted to open the floor if anybody has any questions, and I'm going to try to let's go back there since they raised their hands first. Thank you. And thanks all for being here. It's really nice to see all these new faces.
Someone else will start. Oh, I got a mic.
Okay. You're up.
There's a mic, and I'm up. I just wanted to mention something. I work at a record label, and I want to mention something about mailing lists.
Yeah.
And I do not work for this company. I have nothing to do with this company, but we do use them. You don't actually need to keep a list at your merge table with people drunkenly scribbling and you can't read it later and drinks get spilled on it and you're tired and then you have to go enter it at the end of the night. There's a company called set.live.
Yeah.
Just go there and learn about it. But basically I'll give you a brief. They can collect all your email addresses and the next day email any email that you've pre-written to people from that specific show, thanking them for going. You can get a discount to buy merch on your website. You can include that in the email. So there's an easier way than having a list and then blurry-eyed at 4 a.m. trying to enter those email lists or pretending you're gonna save them. Or I've had artists lose an entire book full of lists. They left it at the hotel or whatever. You don't have to do that anymore. I just wanted to say that. And one other question. Who was the band that played to 800 people at Haw River Ballroom on their own?
Yeah, they're called Tan and Sober Gentlemen. They're like Celtic punk bluegrass band.
Interesting. All right, thank you.
And they're very fun. Real quick, I do want to say on Set.Live, a friend of mine manages the band Doom Flamingo. They believe in that company so much. It's so good because you can do like a merch giveaway at each show, and people come up, hit a QR code, give the information, and if you do it right, you can come back, on a 2-week run with like thousands of new emails.
Wow.
If you do it right. I mean, it's truly amazing, and
Nice.
we all should be doing it.
Excellent. Back there.
Yeah, hi. Hi, my name's Mike Beck, and I've been trying to utilize AI to help me be more productive as an independent artist. Have any of you started to use any of the AI tools to maybe, get rid of some of the mundane grunt work, or is that
Like pitching,
on your
or what do
horizon? Well, even just email, you can, take a document and put it in ChatGPT, and it'll take it from handwritten text into text files that you can import into your computer for email lists or any kind of AI tools, or any efficiency that's coming from that at all.
Well, I know people who do that, but I don't know if any of the people up here are doing that. But
I've cleaned up some bios with it before.
Yeah.
Make the bio sound a lot more professional. I've done that. And then one of my agents found out that you can do venue searches with it too. So like the 10 best jazz clubs in North Carolina, and you can ask it to provide the email address and a little description. And so there are little tools for AI that can be used.
Anyways, I want to make sure we have more time. There was some questions up here. I want to make sure we get a chance. We'll start there and move up, I guess. Yeah. Cool.
I guess it's also a comment. My name's
good.
Lauren Anderson. I'm an independent artist here, and I just going to transportation. I have a 15-passenger van, and I've been recently, when I'm not using it, renting out to local friends.
Nice.
So I guess if anybody ever needs a van and you're located here, come see me.
Wow, look at that. I love it. Shameless promotion. That's what I started with. There were a couple more. I know, yep, you in the front, and there might be one other we can get to.
Hi there, hello. I like the points you made about social media, and I've got these artists that, like, really authentic, a bit too much authenticity maybe. Would you rather see social media that is unpolished but with a lot of content, or would you rather see, when someone is pitching to you, something more like neat, less is more, or more authenticity? What is the
So you're talking about the
point?
content of the social media?
Yeah, just a lot of posts.
I
Because
like the less.
I get the point
personally
about
like
the
less is
dogs and
more.
the cooking, and like that's great. But does it like it has to reel back to the music in the end, right?
Yeah, right. I find it more attractive. I mean, in my pitches, I do a less is more mentality. I don't like the very long. I've had artists that want me to do really long pitches, and I'm like, no one's reading this. If I'm trying to get you into new venues, or venues that are new to you, and festivals that are new to you, they're not going to read over 1 million things. That's different because it's a pitch. But social media, I feel like that's consistent across the board. Anyone else want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think you need to know which area of what platform you're using. It would be different for each of those areas, like longer form versus short. And the idea of how much, it's like, how much is it comfortable for you to post? It's very individual and authentic to you. Unpolished is fine if it's catchy. It's great, actually.
That's true.
It's more interesting.
Yeah, it's more raw, more edgy, whatever. Was there someone else who had a question in the middle here? Or who else has a question? If anyone. There we go.
Any hints for or recommendations for effective subject lines when you're trying to
Oh, I
pitch
love
yourself for festivals and things of that
Don't
nature?
get me started. I should let my panel talk. Maybe the agents or, well, anyone. You guys
Yeah,
have
go ahead.
anything on that?
Yeah,
Subject line is so important.
That's a subject line. There's nothing magical. There's no like perfect answer to this. The way I do it, I mean, I'll do the band. I like for each band to have a small couple word like description that's completely their own. I mean, the band I play in, so we call ourselves Appalachian Rock, and it took us a couple years to figure that out. When we figured it out, we knew it was right. But I love a little unique description. And honestly, subject lines, I just put the information in it. This band, it's this sound for Appaloosa in 2025. That's typically what I do. I don't really have any magic ways to get people to open it up. I don't think there's really any tricks.
Just don't bait and switch.
Yeah.
You'll find more people who hate you for that.
Yeah.
You
I,
don't-
I
absolutely.
think
Don't promise
I think
anything.
straightforward is really the way to go. Like I usually do Matt Axton for whatever club or whatever festival in 2025, and sometimes if there's like Grammy nominee or Appalachian Rock, whatever, as long as it's really short. But I think that buyers, they can see through a lot of the shtick.
Yeah.
They don't really care about it.
Shtick. I thought you were going to go somewhere else.
Can I make one quick point? Because I've been seeing this a lot lately, and I've seen this throughout my career. Grammy nominated only means you actually made it through round one.
Yeah.
And received a nomination. Don't tell somebody you were Grammy nominated if you applied. Seriously.
I don't do.
Because it's easy to figure out, and people will hate
Yeah.
you for it, because people don't like to be deceived.
Yeah. Remember, there's a thing
Right?
called
So there's-
Google, and people
It is
use
business.
it. It's amazing to me what people try to. And I always put the date in my sub. If I'm pitching an artist, I mean, if it's a festival, it's different because we know the dates. But if we call it availability. I do like kind of the range, real short. Like Evangeline said, keep it really short in the subject line. I love, Brian, what you said. Like if we have a little descriptor, especially if it's unique, like Appalachian Rock, I'm opening that.
Yeah.
What the heck is that? Like I want to know. So, it obviously
Ambient
called
country from
the last panel was ambient country. I was like, that's sweet. Was there another? We have a few more minutes.
Hey, real quick on the idea of don't ever be deceitful. It's one of the best lessons I can ever say. Don't ever lie to a buyer if you're pitching yourself. If you're only worth 10 tickets, just say you're worth 10 tickets. Don't ever fudge numbers. That's one of the worst ways you can ruin. Just be completely honest with where you're at. The buyers will appreciate that more than you realize.
And if you get an agent who does that, fire them.
Run. Yeah.
So for a developing artist who's not here, so you can't hurt his feelings, but a 25-year-old who just put out a debut album wants to get on the road. All the books, he's an avid reader, and it says, get a booking agent, get a booking agent.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing up here, no one would really be interested in him. That means that the step for him is to get on the road by himself, presumably. Find those 100 show venues and do it himself. What is the magic for someone who's ready to get on the road to do it by themselves, to book those places?
Well, there's a whole bunch of answers to that.
Indie on the move.
Oh, yeah. Best resource is Indie on the Move. Like, I love it. You have to pay for it now. It's not very much money, I don't think. But Indie, INDIE, onthemove.org or com? It can't be org. Com, probably .com. One of those two. Is a great resource. It's a database, is what it is. And it's a community-driven database. You gotta not take it always so seriously. Some people will do reviews, some artists, and they'll be like, this club is the worst club. Well, that means they didn't get booked at that club. Yeah. So be careful on how you don't read into that too much. If it looks, but they do really good descriptors of what kind of music they accept, what kind of submissions, how large the club is, which obviously is really important. You don't want to start that your 25-year-old, I don't know if you're managing or whatever, doesn't want to be like going out and headlining 200-300 or any size rooms right now. They want to be opening. And it's not to oversimplify, but I just want to quick say, networking is going to be so important. It obviously always is, but at that stage with other bands to get into other markets, try to do show trades. If that artist is developing something in their home market or around their home market or wherever, they can start to offer, hey, I can get you in front of 50 people, 100 people, whatever. Can I come and play in front of your 50 people, 100 people, whatever? And we all know that's important, but it's really important at that. And more so now, I don't know why, and I don't have enough time to explain it, but post-COVID, unfortunately, talent buyers, promoters, and venues are not taking the chances they used to. Not always, that's a generalization, but more so than ever. It's frustrating. I've been doing this 21 years. It frustrates the hell out of me, but it's the way it is. I'm supposed to be the moderator. Anyone else want to? I knew someone was going to get me going.
And
Yeah.
I'm part of my arts council too, and like my local arts council. So look for places like that that you can play. Your local market.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean necessarily the local bar. It can be your local Friday night concert
Yeah.
series or
Farmers
something like that.
markets
Yeah.
here have things, the
Yeah,
airport.
soft tickets or no
here,
tickets.
All of that
Yep.
sort of stuff.
And all this we talked about is that's why it's important, like even if your 25-year-old artist plays a farmer's market, but they sell, but remember what I said earlier in the conversation, they sold $100, $200 worth of merch. Those are numbers they should be keeping track of because agents are going to be, and managers, especially managers, are going to be attracted, I think, hopefully, I am at least, to those numbers.
Just a quick follow-up. That was really helpful when you talked about the factors that you look for as to whether you're going to take on a new client. From the venue perspective, that is getting submissions from these independent artists, say, I want to play there, maybe they're from Milwaukee or wherever. From your experience, what kind of factors, when they look at that artist, what are the things that would appeal to them if they heard the artist explaining to them why they should be considered to play there?
Well, actually, I'm going to out him. My Dennis Grable, who's my boss at Black Oak, he founded Black Oak. We work with him. He's sitting back there somewhere. He just texted me and said, what about the importance of live video? And I was like, yeah, we haven't mentioned that. If you get live video, because even if you have no numbers, agents and managers and everyone or talent buyers, I should say more importantly, want to see what the show is like for sure if they don't have any way to know, well, the artist has played this market several times. I mean, it's an obvious one, but getting some kind of good, doesn't have to be incredible quality, but good quality, both video, both visual and audio.
As a buyer I've bought for a festival, a club, and a nonprofit organization. When I get pitches from artists, I get some really crappy pitches from agents too. But what I'm looking for from an artist direct is something really authentic and truthful about what they're doing and why they want to come and play, and some information about whether or not they've played the market before, and then a good photograph of themselves, a short bio, and a live video that's not somebody hopping around with a cell phone. Could be a cell phone video, but decent quality. So I can just see the crowd, the performance. Very simple, really simple stuff.
Why is this size so shy? What's going on over here? Do we have time for one more? We can do one more at least? Or whatever? Okay, fine. We'll also be around to take questions.
And as she's walking back there, I do want to say, sir, we have developed this coaching program for independent musicians, just like the one you're talking about, to be able to move themselves forward without a team. So after this is over, come talk to me, and I'll talk to you about that. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I'm going to take off my hat for being an artist over to being a talent buyer. Just as an added comment to when you reach out to a talent buyer, it's very helpful to have done your homework. Mm-hmm. If you're a rock act, you don't approach a jazz club or a country western bar. So be sure that when you're sending out emails for gigs, that you're sending them to clubs that will actually want to book you.
Look at the artists that are already performing. I mean, obviously if it's a reputable venue, they're going to have a list of the shows. Surprised sometimes how many don't. But then you can look and see, it doesn't have to be the exact match, obviously, but genre-wise, even maybe where they're at in their career, you don't know exactly, but if it's someone that you think is a little bit too big for you, oh, this side, finally. Wow.
And the same goes for managers and agents. Before you reach out to somebody, make sure they're right for you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Same type of thing.
Because you're wasting your time and ours if you're not right for us at all. So, like, I don't do hip hop, but I get a lot of hip hop submissions. Why? I don't do that. I don't have the contacts,
This isn't, I mean, I suppose it's a bit of a question. I've got a booking agent in Europe, but in the last sort of few years during the pandemic, he's become a sort of darts player and just throws darts at a wall. So you get a couple of bookings on a tour and then a week and a half maybe later, and I'm pulling my hair out trying to fill in the gaps to make these tours happen. So I'm sort of currently looking for a new agent in Europe or worldwide. But in terms of sending out emails, I mean, I kind of got my hand on an old email list that I probably shouldn't have, but I've organized it into a way of getting it out, and I've sort of tried to clean it up by just sending blank emails. But in terms of like changing artists, obviously once you go to the bigger agencies, exclusivity is a big thing, but it's a highly scary thing as well if they're not going to do the work.
Yeah,
what's your guys' take on like exclusive booking deals, or with an artist or not?
It's like a marriage, choose carefully.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, as an agent, exclusivity is kind of the lifeblood. I like to, it's not just about the money, but I like to, this sounds so horrible to say it, but have some type of control over the artist's calendar. Of course, it's still a collaboration, and I get it's scary. I always take that very seriously when I'm working with an artist that I barely have a relationship with, even if we really want to work together, and they're, you know, that's usually the case. So, you know, everybody's different. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything. Do we have time for one other question? 5 over?
Oops.
Okay, well, that's fine. We can end here. We'll be around to answer any individual questions. I'd like to thank my wonderful panel here. Thank you, guys. Thank all of you for being here. See you out there. Happy rest of your AMA.
Good.